So first of all, it's great to meet you both. If you want to start off just by introducing it yourselves and a little bit on your background, and then we'll go into sort of more about who Dentread are and your plans for the future.
So I'm Sharad. I'm a dental radiologist by qualification and have been working in the field of dental imaging and technology the last 15 plus years. And Dentread was an idea that was in the offing thanks to new technologies in dentistry. And that's how we started. Sahai.
Sahai Kottal, pretty much exactly the same background. Both, I'm also an automatic radiologist. About 15 to 20 years being in this field. Just happens to be in a little bit different capacity than what Sharad was doing. So we kind of complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. Yeah.
Excellent. So obviously together you've come and you've created Dentread. Many people obviously won't know who that is at the moment, what you guys do, completely new to the industry. Tell me who are Dentread and what it is, you guys do.
So Dentread is actually something that it's a digital dentistry platform that deals with patient image data management and services that originate from the patient image data. The idea is that with more and more devices, hardware devices, digital devices in the dental offices, dental labs, which often come from different vendors or different manufacturers with better 3D printing, with better in-house fabrications of various appliances given to patients, there was a gap in terms of not only managing the patient data from different disparate sources that don't talk to each other, but also storing it, sharing it, archiving it, and getting access to services. So that's the gap that we are filling with Dentread.
Excellent.
Shai, you want to answer that?
That's exactly what we are. We are an image management platform that renders services in various aspects of digital dentistry. There is no part of actually imaging or CAD designing to delivery that we don't touch. We are not a manufacturer, but we touch all aspects of diagnostics, all aspects of in-house clinical, not even just in-house, even to the labs as well. So we become a through and through a turnkey solution for between offices, labs, imaging vendors, devices, etc.
Excellent. And in terms of the idea of Dentread, did you obviously come up with it yourself? Is it something you've spoke about for a long period of time? Having done what you've done in your backgrounds, I'm sure you've noticed that there is obviously that gap there for something like this. Is that how it all came about?
So I'll answer that with saying that, since both of us share the background of imaging and dental imaging, we also happen to work with digital implantology and digital prosthetics and have a good observation of that space in terms of how imaging is being used for image-guided implantology and digital prosthetics. And thanks to that experience, we could both identify a lot of lacunae in that whole space, which is what prompted us to think of a more holistic solution like Dentread, which would not only fill in those gaps, but also extend the whole platform or data management to not just implantology, but also lab prosthetics, orthodontics, and diagnostics, which is what the dental office or the dental ecosystem is all made of. That's how we got into it.
Excellent. Shai, have you got anything to add to that, or is it sort of the same?
No, I mean that is exactly what it is, and our experience with disparate components in digital dentistry through its evolution. That gave us the motivation to venture into something where you're able to not, you don't really have to go ahead and disrupt a whole lot of things, but you can make things better by just bringing things together. Just because the way it's being done, and we consider a lot of new things are going to happen, fortunately now we have 3D printing in the mix as well. So it makes the process much more complex, and our intent is to simplify that as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of taking then Dentread to market on, obviously you got global and US, is your aim to focus on just US, or are you going to go globally? What are your plans for this?
So we are already operational in the United States market and in the Indian market, and we are getting into the European market slowly. In terms of the platform, because of the complete cloud capability and access anytime, anywhere, obviously it's a global platform.
Yeah.
We do intend to extend our access and services across geographies. However, we start with the US market and the Indian market, which is where we have our strengths. And we've made good inroads into these markets. But next up, we are first is to consolidate our position in these markets, get into as many market segments that we can cater into, whether it's dental labs, whether it's DSO networks, whether it's alliances and partnerships with device manufacturers. And then parallelly, we want to get into the institutional and ecosystem also globally.
Yeah. Excellent. I was going to obviously to ask, with you obviously doing it globally, I can imagine it comes with many different challenges, as India will operate different to the way US does, and Europe operates different as well. So how have you found those challenges, and has it been a challenge for you to overcome certain stages?
Shai, why don't you take that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the maturity of the markets, right? That's one of the biggest profound differences that you find. You look at Asia Pacific, you're probably looking at a lot of conversion from analog to digital itself. So the adoption cycles are much different. Whereas in US, you have, or Western markets or developed markets, that adoption cycle is completely different. I mean, you might be challenged with numerous products in the market already, compatibility with different products, choices that's offered to the customers. So we do see those differences. Presently, we are, but the commonality between all these things are dentistry rarely differs. I mean, it is the same, exactly where it is. The challenges are the same. The needs are the same. The patients are demanding of almost exactly the same things. That is better care, better value. The dentists have the same intention of doing well to the patient. So I think we have definitely evolved into wherever we are touching, according to precisely. That just means that we just have different playbooks for different markets. On the process, but our goal has been to create a universal workflow that can be mastered without any difficulty. So I think we are successful at that point where we are able to not really tailor the workflow, but just tailor the business offer.
Excellent. And I think a lot of the people that will listen to this that are on my network are particularly US based, that not necessarily global. So how have you found, obviously being in the US, and how known are you actually in the US at the moment? Would you class yourselves as something quite small at the moment, and how do you plan to sort of take that further?
I'll take that question, Sharad, if you don't mind first. In respect to US, definitely we are small. I think we are going to, if you ask the same question, and we are a big successful company in 10 years, I would still like to say that we are still small. We want to keep stability for sure. So yeah, we are small. We are a new entrant. We are a new player, new product. So we have to create the value proposition. We have to cut out the noise. And there are several unique challenges just to the U.S. market itself. And I'm sure everybody faces the same challenges in one or the other. But we definitely are a small player for now within the U.S. market.
Yeah, excellent. Are you planning on, when you obviously going into the market, you, as you mentioned previously, looking at labs first. Is that what you're aiming to do? Is to really get it into the dental labs first, and then expand from there?
So the lab, the dental lab space is one of the media for us to get to the dental offices.
Yeah.
However, we have not just the lab space, but we also are directly beginning to work with DSO networks, where which become channels for us to reach to a lot of dental offices. So dental labs, the DSO networks, and parallelly, we also have integrations that we have either finalized or we are in the process of just finishing with device manufacturers, like manufacturers of intraoral scanner devices, who also become a very important medium to take Dentread right into the dental offices.
Excellent. And obviously, as technology continues to change and expand, you look at 3D printing. That's now becoming one of the biggest in the industry, or certainly the most growth, actually. How does that affect the way Dentread works? Are you able to quickly interchange all these new technologies?
So that's actually going to be a huge enabler for a platform like ours, because as the material science has evolved, as the devices have become better, and the dental offices want to invest and do more of the stuff in-house, that's where we come in, because we help them manage not only their patient images, but we also help them get access to services for all kinds of things that they may want to make with a 3D printer, whether it's a surgical guide, whether it's crowns and bridges, whether it's dentures, night guards, aligners, any of those things, they will need us.
Perfect. Anything to add to that, Anshai?
Yeah, 100%. We are looking forward to that. In fact, one of the trends in consumption of dentistry itself is changing. The patients are getting they need a little bit more quicker, products to be delivered to them. So when of course the offices want to deliver them fast, we are the folks that can come in without any external challenges, without any training issues, without any additional, significant addition to their cost. And that's been one of our key components. Like, we want to keep this, we want to increase the base of access, as opposed to premium product just catering to the very high end. That's not what our goal is. We want this to be more equitable in fashion to almost everybody who wants to adopt new 3D printing, give patients better care, better satisfaction, quick turnaround times. So we become the enabler, just like what Sharad said.
Excellent. And you mentioned previously, obviously, in 10 years, you still want to be known as being relatively quite small. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? In an honest question, obviously, there's the gap in the market for a product like this is huge, and I personally see you guys doing really, really well, and it taking off to something big. But where do you see yourself?
So I think in the next 10 years, we would be a significant first mover in the space of open vendor agnostic image management. We would be the leaders in that space. And we would be the natural choice for every other dental office who owns digital devices and who wants to manage their data. And also, we intend to expand our service network to an extent where there will be a combination of human-driven service backends and technology-driven or AI-driven services that any user would be able to access in one location. Shai, you can please elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think that's a great description of where we want to be. We want to be that first. If somebody is adopting something new, immediately within 5 minutes, it should be as easy as getting on anything, that's probably a software, but be able to add ourselves into any ecosystem within the 5 minutes of them acquiring something new and be able to make them better at what they're doing. That's where we see ourselves at 10 years. We are expecting a very healthy competition, and that's great. That's I always think of it as competition is the only way we'll stay humble too. So that's great. That's good for us. We love to do that. We would also want to, when new technologies are coming into the market, we want to be the enabler that puts those new technologies in front of people. So we may not develop in 10 years. We may not develop everything in dentistry. That's not possible, right? There's going to be, so we will have some very curated number of partners in there who brings additional value to the products too.
Yeah, I was obviously gonna ask and touch on that. Obviously, when you mentioned partners, I think what you're doing is really able to create that full digital workflow and that data for a dental office. Do you plan on partnering with anyone at the moment, or will that be something down the line?
Shai, you should take that.
Yep. Yeah, we are definitely partnering. We have some announcements coming very soon. We are working on the background. We have some serious players in the market that we are working with. In terms of devices, in terms of new product developers, established markets. But our goal, like I said, we're not trying to close this off into something that's exclusive for a few group of people, right? We want to grow up communities, and as you might know, just from the U.S., just because I'm based over here, I can say 70% of dentistry is still fragmented, right? I mean, it's still just with single office or multiple offices there. So we want to grow in that market as well. We want to be able to solve their problems. By default, we were not the idea, but the company and our product and our service was born in a time when there's actually labor shortage, and which has affected mostly these small enterprises. And we want to be there to even cover for that, right? We want a new technology to be able to cover for that. So, yep, that's what I have to add to that.
Excellent. I think it's definitely impressive what you're doing at the moment. I think, like I mentioned, I think it's going to be really big in the market. I think you're going to do really well. If we touch on just the current market and sort of moving a little bit off from Dentread at the moment, what do you think to the current dental market at the moment and how it's been this year? Because when I speak to multiple people, it's been a very up and down year, I think, with the way the economy is and the challenges that you're seeing at the moment. People have found it hard. Would you agree?
Shai, you should take that.
Yeah. So I've been in this field in dentistry for about 20 years now. In about like that 2 decades, there's always been ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the challenges are different. That's all going to happen, and we don't think of those things as to be the certain headwinds into adoption, because we are not, Tom, keep in mind, we are not a $20,000 or a $30,000 product or a $6,000 software or any of that. We have a very low barrier of entry. If you are adopting new products, you will need services, and that's where we come in, right? We are going to make your services better. We are going to enable you to increase that utility value to the product that you've added, whether it's a 3D print, CBCT, or an iOS device. I mean, all these things are just white elephants in your practice, unless and until you use them properly and be able to extract the value out of it. So that's where we enable. Now, yes, does that make us dependent on these cyclical changes? Some of them are not cyclical, right? I mean, it's just few things would affect. And I think some of it is actually beneficial. And I'll give you a very direct example. If a dentist has to buy, let's say, for example, a 3D printer and then go and buy a CAD license, he's going to spend another $6,000 to $10,000 extra.
Yeah.
Would you do that, or would you be on a pay-as-you-go service? So we are now reducing the challenge for them to adoption of new technology. So I think the markets will change. That's just bound to happen. like I said, we were born in the time of necessity, so we think that's a blessing for us. And hopefully this is the worst we have ever seen. If your worst challenges are all clubbed into one period, and you come out of it successfully, that's a great advantage that we might have.
Yeah, I absolutely couldn't agree more. I think you put it perfectly there. In terms of technology, you guys have been in the industry for a lot longer than I have. Also, a big part of what I'm doing at the moment is working with 3D print companies, and as you know, we're very well connected with people like Shannon, etc., that we both know. How have you seen 3D printing change and adapt over the years to where it is now?
So 3D printing, Tom, it started as something that was a luxury for some premium offices and a necessity for dental labs. But even that, only the better ones, the bigger sized, medium to large size labs could actually get into those devices and effectively get a return on those investments by using them optimally. But over the years, particularly with more affordable and accessible intraoral scanners or digital impression scanners and better biomaterials, 3D printing, the way it has changed in the last 3 to 5 years is phenomenal, because now there are more directly printable devices like night guards, clear aligners, better materials getting FDA approvals and passing the biocompatibility tests means that effectively, if you have a good 3D printing device and you happen to use it well, you could actually reduce your lab bills significantly.
Yeah.
You could do a lot of work in-house. Plus, you could provide a much better time efficiency to your patients.
Yeah.
That, you could probably entertain a lot more patients that you were not able to entertain because of paucity of time.
Yeah,
in terms of delivering stuff like dentures and so many other things. So it is already transforming. Practices that have already understood this and have managed to start implementing or acting upon this are really seeing the benefits. So I'm pretty confident that with better materials and more affordable 3D printers, more accessible intraoral scanners, there is no other way. This is going to be more transformative for dentistry than most other things that we've seen in the last 2 decades.
No, I would agree. It's even in the short period of time that I've been in the industry, almost 2 years, it's massively changed since when I first started to where I am now. And it just shows the technology and what we can do now is forever going, and where Dentread comes into play, bringing all that in-house and then having the capability to link everything together is really going to offset that really nicely. One thing that I want to touch on as well is education and marketing is so important for especially a company like yourselves that are new, and for people to find out. How do you plan on doing marketing and educating people?
Shai, you want to take that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to use this opportunity to follow up on that same question that you asked Sharad as well. So there was a recent ADA release on their clinical evaluators panel survey. And it so happens I just got a hold of this a few days ago. I started reading over it over last weekend. It says actually, and sorry for not looking at you. I don't want to fudge the numbers over here. So 17% of all the respondents had 3D printing.
Okay.
Right? 67% of the respondents have been using 3D printing in one way or the other. 67% of the respondents were using in the last couple of years, right? So those 21% of those without 3D printers are considering buying or renting or leasing or something. So the numbers, the consumption of this is definitely on the right trajectory for the sake of, right, for the growth of the market. So education, pretty much one of the most important. In fact, that question has a direct answer. I just can't see the numbers over here, but it did say, I think more than 20% of the respondents also said they will be taking some sort of 20 or 30% of the respondents would take some sort of course in 3D printing in the next few years. So that is good. So education is a key focus. We will partner with anybody who is willing to partner with us. Our the way I look at our product is we want to reduce that level of education to a point where it becomes literally, it should be an exercise for the dummies. You do not have to do a whole lot of education, and we've kind of validated this as well. There are folks who have come onto our platform, and we had to handhold them and walk them through. And then there were others who, and recently a big lab that we were trying to get in, and they could not coordinate the time. Unfortunately, they were busy, and they said, "You know what? Just tell us what to do." And I said, "Listen, why don't you just create an account and just go with it and see where it goes?" They figured it out all by themselves. So, which means that process is not bad at all. We can make it certainly better. We do have some educational series. We had one a couple of days ago. We are definitely expanding on that as well. And for those things, we are definitely looking towards partnerships. Whether that's study clubs, whether it's vendors, equipment manufacturers, any of that, large forums, small forums. We definitely want to come in and be able to tell people, hey, if there's a time, there's been no better time to adopt 3D printing in this, and this is how we are going to make your life easy, not just in printing, but also with all the accessory devices.
Yeah. Excellent. And in terms of yourselves, will you be doing sort of to get your name out there and make people more aware of who you are? Are you going to be doing things like trade shows or webinars? What are the plans for that?
Yeah, so obviously we already have a bunch of key opinion leaders who are using the platform, who are happy with what they've experienced for their own practices. And we're in the process of, organizing and scheduling webinars, regular webinars, getting with some kind of educational, online educational endeavors on a frequent basis. As far as the trade shows are concerned, yes, they are also something that is on the cards. In fact, we do intend to be there at the midwinter, upcoming Chicago midwinter, and we will definitely have presence over there. We were there not officially at the IDS this year, but I'm pretty confident that by the time the next IDS comes up, we hope to be there. We hope to be there in some of the other major meetings. I would not say a lot of small meetings, but at the moment, some of the bigger meetings. Okay. And we'll start from those and then work our way forward from there.
Excellent. I think the bigger meetings are definitely where you'll do the most business. When I speak to people, there, what are people focusing on? I myself hoping to be at the Chicago Midwinter, so it'll be great to actually meet you in person and continue and see just the development from now till February or March, whenever it is. I think it's February or March. Just how it's changed and what the plans look like. So I'll be looking forward to catching up with you guys there.
Okay, we'll be at the LMT as well. Midwinter. Also with the LMT, so we'll be there at the LMT. We just got started on that process, so we'll figure out the details on it. Yeah, but we are definitely looking forward to seeing you too in multiple places.
Excellent. Well, that's sort of it for the questions that I've got written down. So perfect, excellent.